I was holding a piece of paper worth $5 million in my shaking hands. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I had rushed home 2 hours early, gasping for air, ready to tell my husband, Richard, that our years of struggling were finally over. But as I pushed the front door open, the silence in the house felt heavy, cold. I tiptoed toward his home office and heard him laughing. What he said next froze the blood in my veins. "Just file the legal separation papers today," he told his lawyer. "I want the date stamped before 5. I'm not giving that financial leech a single dime of my commission bonus." In that heartbeat, the $5 million secret in my hand stopped being a gift for our future and became the ultimate weapon to destroy the trap he had just set for me. My name is Naomi. And on a random Thursday afternoon, I realized my happy marriage was actually a carefully constructed execution. If you've ever discovered a brutal betrayal from the person you trusted most, hit that like button and subscribe. You're going to want to hear exactly how I turned my husband's greed into his own financial grave. For 3 years, I had been the anchor Richard never acknowledged. I poured my soul into my freelance graphic design business. I worked until 2 a.m. on Etsy orders, my eyes burning from the glow of my iPad, just to make sure our groceries were paid for and the lights stayed on. Richard. He worked in high-pressure tech sales. He walked around the house like he was the king of Wall Street. He never missed a chance to remind me that his salary was the real money. He called my business a cute little hobby. He'd sigh with theatrical exhaustion whenever I asked for help with a broken appliance, as if my lack of a corporate title made me a servant in my own home. The turning point, the $5 million ticket. That Thursday, the heat was suffocating. I stopped at a gas station for water, and on a whim, I bought a scratch-off. I sat in my sweltering car, the summer sun pressing against the glass. I used a quarter to scratch the silver foil. One matching number. Then another. Then, the prize. $5 million. The air vanished from my lungs. I rubbed my eyes, convinced the heat was making me hallucinate. But the numbers didn't change. I wasn't just okay anymore. I was rich. We were free. I sped home, tears of pure joy streaming down my face. I wanted to run into Richard's arms. I wanted to tell him we could finally take that Europe trip. The betrayal, the office door. I unlocked the front door quietly, wanting to surprise him. The hallway was a tomb. I tiptoed toward his office. The door was cracked an inch. "I'm telling you, man," Richard's voice drifted out, sounding casual and amused. "She sits around drawing on her iPad all day while I grind in the real world. Once that separation date is legally stamped today, my bonus is safe. I'll wait a few days to tell her. I'll get her to sign over the equity in the house first. She's so naive, she signs whatever I put in front of her." I pressed my back against the wall, clutching the ticket to my chest. My heart, which had been soaring, crashed into the pit of my stomach. The strategy, the 9 a.m. trap. Then, a cold, sharp clarity washed over me. Richard had just made a catastrophic miscalculation. He was rushing to establish a legal date of separation to protect his end-of-year bonus. But in our state, the law is a double-edged sword. Once that paperwork is stamped, the marital community is dead. I looked at the clock. 2 p.m. His lawyer had filed the papers at 9 a.m. That meant this $5 million ticket didn't belong to us. It belonged entirely, legally, and beautifully to me. The confrontation, the predatory dinner. 30 minutes later, Richard was playing the role of the devoted husband. He cooked salmon. He poured expensive wine. It felt like sitting down to a meal with an executioner. "I need a quick favor," he said, sliding a thick stack of papers across the table. "A home equity line of credit. I need the cash for a startup venture. Just sign here." I looked at the papers. He wanted to drain the equity out of the house my father's life insurance had paid the down payment for. He wanted to rob me blind before serving me papers. "I'm not signing this, Richard," I said, my voice steady. The mask slipped. His jaw clenched. "You're being paranoid, Naomi. I bust my back so you can play artist. Sign the papers." He stormed out, leaving his iPad on the counter. Chime. A notification popped up. An email from his lawyer. Richard. Confirmation received. Legal separation recorded as of 9 a.m. Your bonus is protected. Get her signature on the loan and we proceed with the eviction. Suddenly, headlights swept across the living room. Richard's toxic mother, Diane, and his arrogant brother-in-law, Jamal, marched in. They didn't even knock. Jamal started measuring my walls with a metal tape. Richard, man, this place is a sinking trap, Jamal scoffed. We'll gut the kitchen, stage it, and have it on the market in 2 weeks. I stood my ground. Jamal, if you're going to measure the square footage, you should know who owns the equity. I wrote the check for the down payment. Not Richard. If you touch my walls again, I'm calling the real estate board to have your license revoked. The room went silent. But Richard had one more card to play. The front door opened again. A young, pregnant woman walked in with a suitcase. This is Brittany, Richard said, his voice dripping with cruelty. She's having my son. I've filed for separation, Naomi. You have until the end of the week to clear your studio out of the guest room. I need to prioritize my actual family now. The final strike. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I looked at the three of them. Diane cooing over the mistress, Richard smirking, Jamal fuming. Okay, I said softly. I walked to the office, grabbed Richard's master backup hard drive, and walked out. The next morning, I was in the office of Caroline, the most ruthless family law attorney in the state. We opened the drive. We didn't just find his bonus. We found $60,000 in secret credit card debt spent on diamond bracelets and trips to Cabo for Brittany. He wants to split this debt with you, Caroline said, smiling like a shark. But we're going to prove marital waste. And as for your lottery ticket? Caroline leaned back. Since he filed at 9 a.m. and you won at 2 p.m., he just handed away his right to $2.5 million of your money. He's going to be left with the mistress, the debt, and a mother who wears counterfeit bags. Richard thought he was the hunter, but he ended up being the prey. He was so busy trying to protect his bonus that he legally divorced himself from a fortune. Sometimes, greed doesn't just blind you, it bankrupts you. If you enjoyed seeing a financial leech turn into a multimillionaire while her cheating husband lost everything, smash that like button. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you heard that phone call? And don't forget to subscribe Revenge Engine for more stories where the underdog finally gets the last laugh.